Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to JumboCast coverage of the Collegiate Star League League of Legends tournament. My name is Andrew Howe, joined here by Adi Palparik, and we're thrilled to bring you an exciting Week 3 matchup between Tufts University Blue and New York University Indigo. Adi, after a dominant Week 1 sweep of WPI, Tufts had a tough match last week, losing a heartbreaking 2-1 to Brandeis's Roll the Dice.
Yeah, last week Tufts had a really tough series where they ended up losing the match in 3 games. Game 1, it seemed as their damage was really concentrated on their ADC. So while the Galio and Zach frontline were able to burst down and carry or 1 or 2 players in the beginning of a fight, the enemy was consistently able to find his way into the backline, take down the ADC, and make it so Tufts didn't really have any damage to finish the fight. However, they quickly turned things around in Game 2 with a fantastic performance from the bot lane, utilizing an Annie Samira bot lane. Annie has the ability to get a decent amount of damage and CC out early, and because of Samira's early game damage, plus a passive that knocks up people who are CC'd, they were able to get a ton of early game pressure. They use this to be able to find a huge lead to the bot lane and take over the game. However, Game 3, the Annie Samira bot lane didn't work out as well. After a couple close fights in the bot lane, and maybe a bit too conservative use of summer spells from the side of Tufts, the enemy Ezreal was able to get too strong and make the Samira Annie obsolete, ultimately leading to the match going to Brandeis.
Yeah, a tough loss last week, bringing Tufts' record down to 1-1. But they're going to try and bounce back this week. They are going to be using the same lineup that we've seen in the past 2 weeks, with Easy Life in the top lane, Morn in the jungle, Argentine import mid, with the bot lane Jansu and Constantine Valdor, as you said before. For our player spotlight this week, Adi, I kind of wanted to go back to the spot lane a little bit for the Jumbos. Jansu and Constantine Valdor were definitely a focal point in Tufts' Game 2 win last week when they brought out that non-traditional Samira Annie.
Yeah, I really am excited to see how the bot lane bounces back this week. They had a pretty decent performance Game 1 where I feel like the loss really came from the lack of damage on side of Tufts and not really the bot lane. And they had a really good performance Game 2 where they basically carried the team. Well, they also had a bit of a lacking performance Game 3. I feel like they've typically been a relatively proactive lane. They like to utilize tools and make plays across the map, and I think they will be integral to a Tufts win this week. So far, we have mostly seen a lot of playmaking supports from the side of Constantine Valdor. He has piloted things like the Leota and the Rakan and the Annie, and led to a ton of playmaking. I expect to see similar stuff out from this week. Jansu, however, actually has a very deep champion pool. We've seen everything from him from like Jhin to Samira to even Vayne, so I'm not really sure what he'll be bringing out this week.
Yeah, certainly going to be a really exciting thing to look at for this week. The Tufts and NYU are actually currently in the pro draft, so we're just gonna end up just going into the in-game draft just so we get some more time to kind of analyze this before we set off in Game 1. But this week, yeah, the Jumbos will be taking on NYU Indigo. Their name is Lavender on our screen, and according to the CSL website, but they are the Indigo team according to sources from them. But yes, anyway, like Tufts, NYU is also sitting at 1-1, and like Tufts again, are coming off of a 2-1 loss in the past week. They lost to Boston University, very strong team currently at 3-0. Lavender will have Mystery Champ in the top lane, Masuta in the jungle, mid laner Kokoro with bot lane Anson, and Belief Survivors.
Yeah, we don't have as much to say about NYU. Most of our data from the other team comes from op.gg, and from that we can see that mid lane especially likes to play champions like Syndra and Silas. However, due to the fact that we don't have the ability to see data from other CSL matches, we really don't know a ton about what they will bring out. However, I would like to see some love shown from Tufts to the mid lane to maybe ban out a little bit of the Syndra or Silas.
Yeah, so Kokoro in the mid lane, definitely a very flexible mid laner, has played a lot of champions in his solo queue repertoire. He's got things like the Silas, like the Galio, even stuff like Annie, Yone, just a lot of different play styles overarchingly so. Another person I do want to take a look at, Adi, is their jungler, Masuta. Has been relatively mysterious, but is actually the highest ranked player in the Brandeis team. He's currently in Diamond 1, and while he doesn't play a lot of jungle in solo queue necessarily, one thing I do want to look out for is his Lilia games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like you're saying, he doesn't play a ton of jungle in solo queue. However, we've seen a decent amount of Lilia, so I think there may be a chance that taking away Lilia could cripple the jungle a little bit. However, like you said, he's a very strong player. He's been playing jungle through CSL, so maybe there's some surprise picks we don't have the ability to see right now.
Yeah, super interesting overall. Once again, Anson and Belief Survivors in that bottom lane. Belief Survivors is actually a support main. There's and has a lot of champions as well. And something I do want to look out for in this draft are the possibilities of these flex picks. You know, Adi, since a lot of these players can play a lot of roles, can play a lot of different positions, I would not be surprised to see a bunch of different roles coming out this week.
Yeah. One thing before we get into the draft, I want to talk about is Tufts draft. Last week in the game one, they had a really good combo with Zach and Galio, able to dive the backline, get a ton of damage and picks early. However, most of their damage was concentrated on the Jhin. And while they were able to win a few fights, the fact that all their damage was on one person, the Kha'Zix was very easily able to kill the Jhin and make it so the Galio and Zach were kind of by themselves, just waiting for their cooldowns to come up and hoping that it does enough damage with that. But at the end, it was not able to.
Certainly so, and we're going to be really excited. We're about to get into the draft momentarily, and I'm really excited to see what champions will be brought out in this game. Tufts did elect to go blue side in this game, for this game one. Once again, this is the best of 3, so we're going to see Tufts on the blue side with NYU on the red side for this game one.
Yeah, and it seems as if the players have finished the pro draft, and it looks like they're about to get into the normal draft, so you guys will be able to see that shortly.
And yeah, I think we are about ready to jump into that champ select right about now. This game was pro drafted. We do have the pro draft available, so once these champions start to come locked in for the various teams, we'll kind of give you guys a little bit of a rundown of what happened in this draft. So just stay tuned for that. And the draft has begun underway here. We're going to see Tufts on the blue side once again.
All right, so there's the Silas ban I was talking about. From the little OP.GG data we have, we saw that the mid lane really likes to play Syndra and Silas. So I really like the ban from Tufts, respecting that pick.
And it looks like on the side of NYU, a lot of the champions being banned are just the A names, but we can go through what champions were banned here. We do have access to the pro draft once again. We got Elise, Shen, and Samira taken away in this first rotation.
Yeah, and another big ban coming out from the side of Tufts was Lilia. Like we were talking about, we saw not a ton of junglers on the side of NYU, so the Lilia being taken out might actually put NYU in a hard position.
Interesting lock-in here. We do see that Singe being picked up here for the mystery champ. It was picked R5 last pick as a response to the Ornn pickup here. So Singe is a fair matchup into Ornn. Gets that opportunity to kind of free farm, bully the Ornn out of lane a little bit in the early game. And meanwhile, for the NYU side, we got Graves and Orianna being locked in as well.
Yeah. Another thing to note is we do have the Galio picked up again from Argentine import, which, like I said, had a pretty good performance given the fact that it was didn't actually do a ton of damage, as it is a Galio later into the fights, and the fact that it's paired with the Kindred now means that they actually can utilize the mid lane jungle duo to try to create a lot of pressure and not lack that damage as they get into the late game.
For the second phase of bans here, NYU once again not really showing it in this game, but they did. They picked their Graves, Ezreal, and Morgana in the first 3 picks, banned away the Kha'Zix and the Jarvan going towards that jungler in Morn as a response to the Graves. So Kindred was locked in response after those bans were locked in. And overall, looking at these comps, Adi, what do you think of what's to come in this game?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the pick potential from the bot lane before, and Tufts has a lot of pick potential with that bot lane. They have the Ashe and Leona, plus they have Ornn and a Galio. So if they are able to lock someone down, they can lock them down for quite a while. However, there is the Black Shield on the side of NYU, and I think if the Morgana is able to utilize that correctly, it might be able to stop a lot of the engage from the side of Tufts. So I'm really excited to see what ends up happening, because while Tufts has a lot of tools, the Ezreal Morgana bot lane has the ability to try to evade it and turn the fight around afterwards.
And another aggressive bot lane coming out of Tufts. Johnsy and Constantine, we did talk about them earlier on in the show, and they lock in this Ashe Leona bot lane for themselves. This was picked. Leona was actually first picked by the Jumbos here. Constantine really wanted to get his hands on that Sun Goddess, and this Ashe Leona is going to provide a lot of CC and a lot of lane dominance going against a more safe lane like the Ezreal Morgana.
Yeah, and I think what this game is really going to come down to is that mid jungle skirmishing. The ball lane, it is pretty aggressive from the side of Tufts, just relative to NYU. But given that it's Ezreal Morgana versus an Ashe, I don't expect a lot to end up happening in that lane. So I'm really excited to see what the Graves Oriana and the Kindred Gallery are going to do to each other to try to create a lead and get themselves really nicely into the mid to late game.
Certainly so. This is going to be a really exciting matchup. I'm really excited to look out for the kind of difference in playstyles here. We have this Sinshu, not necessarily as good as a team fighter, but on the side of Tufts, just team fighting, team fighting, team fighting all throughout. These late game fights are going to be insane with the champions that they have on their teams.
Yeah, another thing to point out is the scaling does seem relatively similar to both sides. However, Tufts has the Ornn, which is like a free 6K worth of gold as soon as he hits level 16. So theoretically, that could be a win condition for Tufts.
Yeah, those ornaments going to be coming in for a lot of these champions as well, not just for Easy Life. Ashe, Galio, Kindred certainly will benefit from things like the Molten Edge, things like the Rabadon's upgrade. It's going to be a really interesting dynamic to kind of look at as we go forward into this game. We are heading in to a bit of a spectator delay, as you see here, but we will be taking a short break before heading into Champ Select, and don't go anywhere. We're going to be right back with Game 1 coverage between Tufts and NYU. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, everybody, and welcome to Summoner's Rift for some Week 3 action. We got Game 1 between Tufts University Blue and NYU Lavender or Indigo, however you want to put it. My name is Andrew Howe, joined once again by Adi Palparik. And Adi, we got an exciting Game 1 matchup here today, looking at these comps.
Yeah, and it seems unlike a couple of last weeks, or a few of the games in the last weeks, both teams are just opting to go for the 5 points. One thing to note is there is the cleanse on the side of Oriana, which I think is a really good choice given how many pick tools there are on the side of Tufts, and the fact that if Oriana gets taunted up, the Kindred might be able to come in for a gank and easily get a kill.
Also got that phase rush on Kokoro's Oriana. Would not be surprised to be seeing that Nimbus cloak in there as well. Get some extra mobility, extra escape potential with that cleanse. So far, early game, just got a little bit of vision early on in the river. Not too much action going on. A little bit of poke there onto Argentine import. But yeah, Adi, that's not really going to mean much. But what is going to mean a lot is this laning phase. Where are the kind of discrepancies in the lanes? I do think that the top lane is definitely an interesting point of conversation to look at.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen the Ornn Singed matchup too much. I would assume Ornn has a bit of advantage just because he has a lot of raw damage early. However, I feel like with Singed, plays as Singed does, plays that annoying run around with the poison kind of style. Singed might be able to get an advantage.
Both junglers opting to start on their blue buffs with that machete, getting some of that single target healing a little out for this early game. Here in the bot lanes, not that much is going on, and it looks like both junglers will be opting for a full clear early to start this game off.
Yeah, a bit of early damage dealt from the side of Tufts, but I think it's gonna stay relatively even for a while. As soon as Morgana hits level 2 or 3, whenever she opts to level up that black shield, makes it so there's not much kill pressure from the side of Tufts.
Yeah, a nice pickup with that Morgana there. Belief survivors definitely will not have have a good time into this Ashe Leona lane. Gonna be doing a really good job with that black shield and the Ezreal arcane shift as well. Gonna be able to kind of prevent this sort of kill lane that Tufts has set up here.
Yeah, and in the mid lane, I think right now when Galio's able to get the aftershock, it should be relatively fine. But Oriana does have the ability to do consistent poke.
Looks like we see 3 pushing lanes here for the side of NYU early on in this matchup. Ezreal Morgana with that pool coming out from the Moor, gonna be easy to come in. But there's that engage there. Zenith Blade has been popped in. That's a level 2 Morgana. Belief Survivors has not have that black shield available. Constantine's gonna flash in for the Q. Ignite already popped, and he's not gonna be able to finish him off. Only the heal was used on Anson, so a bit of an aggressive play by Constantine. But with that black shield not available, you feel like it's something we had to do.
Yeah, I like the idea of punishing the Morgana for not taking Black Shield level 2, but yeah, I think there just wasn't barely enough damage, and they were able to get the heal out, but not much more.
Yeah, not even a flash issued out there from Anson or Belief Survivors in that trade. Do get the heal and ignite out, so a lot of those offensive summoner spells were already utilized, so it's going to be a little bit harder for them to take that. We're going to see another trade on the mid lane. Once again, Argentine import taking advantage of that aftershock. Both junglers are going for the scuttles, and they're going to split it 1 for 1.
Yeah, and there's the TP advantage coming in, Galio's able to TP back and have a bit of an advantage in the lane. And Oriana's going to have to walk all the way back because she opted into that cleanse.
Definitely. Galio with the Winds of War, going to have a lot of early pushing power to try and deny some minions there onto Kokoro. Nice trade by Easy Life there, but there's the flip in return. Mystery Tramp is probably okay with getting pretty low in this lane. The Ornn does not have that much kill pressure early on.
Yeah, and one more interesting thing to note is Oriana does not have flash. I don't remember seeing when it was blown, but I want to see if Morin can capitalize on that and maybe get the cleanse as well, or kill in the mid lane.
Yeah, interesting to see that. Kokoro ended up blowing his flash, did not really see where that happened. We're going to see an invade here on this bottom side. That Gromp is going to be under attack. Argentine import is here, going to land the Justice Punch and the taunt before the black shield could have been popped. Flash coming out of Belief Survivors that time, but that's going to be a stolen Gromp for the side of Tufts. Morn is going to pick that up. Constantine looks like he might be in a bit of trouble now. Fox W and needs the Blast Cone to get out safely, but here comes Matsuta. There's a Dark Binding, gonna barely miss. A nice flash out, and Argentine import looks like he might be in a bit of trouble. gonna be a lot of damage being issued out. Anson has some of the damage, but not a lot of mana. And with that, it looks like Tufts is gonna be able to pressure off. Gonna be pressured off by NYU, and the Dragon might be the target.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea. They had the prio from mid lane because of the TP. They had the camp wanted to be taken by Kindred because of the mark. But I feel like they stayed in there a little too long. And while they were able to get the flash for Morgana, I feel like it wasn't worth it as they had to give up so much for it.
Yeah, and that's going to be the Cloud Dragon picked up. Masuta is going to be able to finish it off with the Smite with barely enough HP, but already has that Warhammer in inventory, has been farming up like a madman early on in this game. And that Graves is certainly doing the work that he needs to be doing right now.
Yeah, and Singed has got himself a bit of a farm lead up in the top lane, has the ability to take out those minions really easily with the poison, and is now level 6. So I'm very interested to see how this top lane matchup is going to keep going on.
Morn does have 2 Kindred stacks already in this game. Definitely a good spot you want to be in, especially without any kills picked up already. Belief Survivors is getting dangerously low. Black Shield was used on Anson, and that's going to be first blood picked up for Constantine Valdo. The bot lane of Tufts once again showing its dominance here. They're going to look for a dive on Anson. He is out of mana. One more auto will likely do it. No, barely enough HP, and that's going to be the return kill. Anson ends up surviving the tower dive, and Tufts overcommits for a kill there.
That was kind of unlucky from Tufts. I mean, really good job from Constantine Valdor, using the CC and damage on the Morgana, who did not have the Black Shield as she used it on the Ezreal. But a little too greedy for that tower dive there.
Interesting interaction being procced here in the top lane. Insanity Potion has already been used by Mystery Tramp, and that's going to force the flash out of Easy Life. So only level 6, only 7 minutes into this game, and Mystery Tramp already has kill pressure onto the Ornn.
Yeah, I think at this point, Singed is pretty strong, and the damage from Ornn is getting a little bit outscaled, so...
And it looks like Belief Survivors has gone over to the mid lane to try and help him out. Mystery Tramp is going to proxy. That's what Singes do. They're going to go and be a nuisance, force Easy Life, a champion that doesn't, on this Ornn, a champion that doesn't really have that much last hitting ability to be forced to hit under tower, which is something that he definitely doesn't want to be doing.
Yeah, and it seems like you were saying before, they have a lot of pushing in from the side of NYU. All 3 lanes are getting pushed in relatively close to the Tufts towers, and Graves is just kind of walking around power farming like you were talking about, making sure he'll be really strong as they get into early, mid game.
Interesting build here on the side of Easy Life. Goes for that early Bammy Cinder just for some extra wave clear against the Singed. Likely will be going for that Abyssal Mask early on with that Null Magic Mantle in inventory. But yeah, interesting to see that he does value this wave pushing and a little bit of extra burst with the Bammies.
Yeah, I personally really like Body Cinder. Ever since it had the always a little bit of engage in the mid lane.
Constantine and Argentine Import have found out Masuta going into the jungle, and that's going to be a kill picked up. And with that, Morn is going to go over to the enemy Raptors, where he will secure another stack for himself. A great play all around from the Tufts team.
Yeah, this is kind of what I wanted to see from Constantine Valdor and Argentine Import when they picked this style of comp. Oh.
Looks like not too much damage is going to be issued back and forth, or maybe not. That's going to be the Shockwave pop by Kokoro, and that's going to be a trade of ultimates. Morn going to use that Lamb's Respite to try and survive, and that's not much of a else is going to be going in. But hold on, look, Mystery Tramp has found out Morn. Does have the flash, not available though. So it looks like Mystery Tramp is going to try and go for this. Has the flash. He's going to use it to flip Morn into the wall. The poison is going to finish him off. That's going to be a kill onto the Kindred. A bit of an overextension once again for that mark. Argentine Import is going to get away with his life, but there's going to be 3 members on the side of NYU in the middle lane pick up the kill.
Yeah, it seems like they used those pick tools really well in the bottom river and were able to get a kill, but then they overextended. Graves was alive and back in the mid lane by the time they were still fighting there. So it seems like Tufts needs to be a little less greedy with what they're getting.
Speaking of greed, that's going to be Masuta being caught up for the 2nd time in a row. Constantine going to land that Zenith Blade onto him. He's taking below 100 HP, but it looks like Kokoro is going to try and save him for now. That's going to be a kill. Johnson's going to pick that up, but there's the re-engage. Belief Survivors and Kokoro are trying to go for this. Flash Q from Constantine is going to lock up the Orianna, and she's going to fall. Belief Survivors is now strangely out of position. Level 6 is going to be the Solar Flare coming out of Constantine. That's going to be a double kill for Argentine Import, and 2 straight kills for the Jumbos in retaliation.
This is exactly what I wanted to see from this Tufts composition. They have so many pick tools and so many ways to like turn a small fight into like turn a small skirmish into a big fight. That started because Graves got picked in the jungle, and suddenly the mid support from the side of NYU came to help, and Tufts was able to use all their tools to collapse on them and get a really big win for themselves.
Morn is now sitting at 3 of his kindred stacks. Certainly going to be strong. Picking up stacks is really integral to this champion. Going to get those marks onto the different camps, onto the different champions. And with 3 pushing lanes, it looks like a lot of successful ganks could be able to be pulled off here.
Yeah, and now there's the bod mid lane is really strong from the side of Tufts, and I want to see how they can utilize this to help Easy Life out a little bit in the top lane, help get him out of this lane phase, and turn it into some more dragons and pressure into the bot lane.
Constantine looking once again, fishing for another play. Gonna land the Q onto Belief Survivors. Black Shield has not been popped yet, but that's a Dark Binding. Constantine, who has once been known for catching his opponents out of position, might be in for a bit of a taste in his own medicine. He's gonna try to go back in, but that's the Shockwave, and one more Q will do it. Shutdown. Constantine actually had 150 gold bounty on his head, and that's gonna be a kill going for Kokoro, and the Dragon probably gonna be taken down for the NYU.
Yeah, that looked also like a little bit of miscommunication from the side of Tufts. Like, I thought that Constantine could have gotten out, but he went back in, and I think maybe there was something they were talking about between Argentine Import and Constantine Valdor, but Argentine Import just ended up backing off, and Constantine Valdor died.
Game has been super even so far, even in gold. The only thing really is that 2 dragon advantage on the side of NYU. It will be a mountain soul for this game, as Singed and Graves are really going to appreciate the extra resistances that these dragons could be looking for, as well as Easy Life and Argentine Import and Constantine on the other side.
Yeah, and it looks like there's some pings putting down on the bottom side of the map.
Yeah, it looks like Morin is trying to go for that Gromp with the stack available, but it doesn't look like he's going to get it. He's actually going to get baited. Masuta and Belief Survivors are coming in to try and engage onto the enemy jungler. That's going to be the Lamp Despite already popped. Stopwatch used by Belief Survivors, and Johnson's going to pick that up with the arrow. Here comes the re-engage. Constantine is in, and a 3-man taunt from Argentine Import. Johnson flashes over the wall to get more damage. That's going to be a double kill, but the collateral damage will finish him off. Constantine is somehow still alive, but the teleport has come in from only the top laner of NYU. Mystery Tramp is going to pick up a kill onto Constantine. Anson flashes forward, but it might have been an overextension there. That's going to be the fling coming out onto Argentine Import, and with one more Q, that's going to be another kill going towards the NYU bot laner. Overall, it's going to be a 3-for-1 for the side of NYU.
Yeah, it seemed like such a good fight from the side of Tufts. However, they were the slipperiness of Ezreal and Graves meant they were able to like get back over the other side of the wall, make some distance, and the Singe just kind of came in and destroyed the team.
Yeah, the TP coming out from Mystery Tramp was massive for them. Easy Life electing to stay in that top side. Looks like he actually did not have that TP available due to the Summoner Spellbook. Actually ended up having the Ignite instead. Definitely a bit of a shame for him to not be into that fight. But overall, the gold lead has still remained even despite all of the antics going on back and forth, as we are about to hit the point where the turret plates will fall and a lot of open gold will probably be more on the table.
Yeah, and it seems to me like that also was showing a little bit of miscommunication, you know. Jiangsu actually flashed forward into 3 people off of that taunt, but I think the Singe was like TPing in or like trying to make some space, and so maybe if they had the call to back off a little bit sooner, they could have just gotten a kill and gotten out.
Oh, Rift Herald was popped by Morn, but a little bit too late as the plates did end up falling, but that's going to be a kill going in there. Not even time to ultimate. It was on cooldown. Belief Survivors picks up a kill onto the enemy jungler with that Dark Binding, and a nice solid pickup coming out there from the NYU Indigo team.
Yeah, fantastic shockwave from the side of Kokoro, getting the Kindred on the edge of the circle there, and then after that it's an easy kill, especially when Kindred does not have the ultimate.
Yeah, it was overall a really unfortunate play there for Tufts. Morin tried to use that Rift Herald before the plates fell. Did not happen. Only got about a half a chunk of that turret, which is still at a relatively healthy state, and ends up dying for it. So yeah, really not a really great trade for the Jumbos there.
Yeah. And now we can see a lot of the gold put on the Ezreal and the Singe right now, and that might. Oh, it looks like there might be a fight coming in the top lane.
Lots of members in the top lane. The arrow intended for Mr. Champ is going to land onto the Graves instead. There's the call to Forge God. Going to be knocking up one. Masuta has the black shield on him. Is going to get away with his life. Constantine is being attacked by the Soul Shackles. Going to be the first victim here in the fight. Lancer's fight has been used by Morn. Going to be keeping a lot of these members alive. A two-man shockwave coming out of Kokoro. And this could be big for NYU. There comes the hero's entrance. It's going to land a knockup. An Argentine import is trying to go in, but he's the only one left alive on his team with any meaningful health bar. And he is going to go down too. That's going to be 2 kills going over to NYU with more potentially to follow. True Shot Barrage will not do it, but there's the dissonance from Kokoro finishing off Easy Life. And that's going to be 3 straight kills coming out from the Indigo as they're looking for the first tower of the game.
Yeah, and that seems kind of like a Singe difference right there. Singe did a really good job of making sure Jiansu couldn't really end the fight. So it was really just Constantine Valdor and Galio trying to, punch the enemies to death, but because they don't really have a lot of attack damage, they didn't have the consistent damage, the fight was able to turn around onto NYU's side.
And these fights are incredibly close every single time. All these members of all these teams end up with these fights with no mana, no resource, no health after all of this, but they still keep kind of going in the favor of NYU, and it's just going to be even more promising for them as we get into the later stages of the game. We have the 3rd dragon spawning in less than 15 seconds.
Yeah, and I think the way Tufts has to play this now is keep going for similar picks, but they have to do it a little more conservatively. Make sure there's no Singe anywhere near that can come help. Make sure there's only like 1 or 2 players. Don't try to go for like a big 5-5 right now, and hope these Orin items and theoretical contest for the dragon can stall the game out.
Soul Point on the line here for NYU. Looks like Easy Life has the teleport available, has the call to Forge God as well, and he's going to be using that TP in the Tri-Bush. Dark Binding already landing onto Constantine, and here comes the fight. Dragon is already picked up. That's going to be Soul Point for NYU, and they're going to try and disengage. Incredible Crystal Arrow is going to land, but I don't know if Tufts has the abilities to try and fight them off here. It looks like a bit of an overextension potentially. That's going to be a Shockwave only landing onto Constantine, but a lot of poke damage coming out of NYU. The collateral damage, the Dark Binding, the Mystic shots, everything is going and hitting for NYU, and they're going to pick up Morn in the process. Soul Point and another kill going over to the Indigo team.
Yeah, this is kind of what I was talking about with the composition from NYU. The fact that they have the Ezreal, Morgana, and the Orianna means that like they have the ability to make some space, dodge around, try to make sure the pick tools don't take too much, and then they can turn the fight around and get a couple kills on the backside.
18 minutes into this one, and Kokoro and the rest of NYU are knocking on the door of this mid-inner turret. Won't be able to get it, but a 3,000 gold lead has opened up for the Indigo. Going to be an interesting predicament that they find themselves in. Singe will be able to back there, pick up another item. We'll be going for potentially Deadman's here with that Giant's Belt pickup. Going to get a lot of movement speed and a lot more teamfight power out of that item.
Yeah. It seems the game is coming to a little bit of a lull right now. It's going to be hard for NYU to push into these tier 2 turrets without a ton of pressure. There's the tier 1 still standing in the bot lane, but I think they're going to need another 5v5 to go their way before they can start getting into the base.
And one player I do want to kind of mention here is Morn, sitting there at 0-3. This is a change in what we've typically seen from the Tufts jungler. Morn typically not in a position where he's super far behind, but actually sitting at this point is around 700 gold behind Masuta's Graves. Has the 4 marks for himself, has the Warrior already and Berserker's Greaves already completed, but if you look at the item difference, it's certainly favoring the Graves for now.
Yeah, it just seems like there are a lot of pick tools on the side of NYU that just seem to keep finding Morn, as Morn has a little bit shorter range and has to stay a little bit closer to the front line.
Yeah, it doesn't get those resistances that Masuta gets with that E, with the True Grit there. Rift Herald is available for NYU, and they're going to try and go for a bit of a dive here onto Argentine import. Galio is all by himself, but the rest of Tufts is potentially going to try and re-engage. No, that's just going to be the kill, and 5 members of NYU collapsing on this bottom side. Could potentially be looking for more as Easy Life's up top.
Yeah, and that was a 4v1 dive with the Rift Herald, and while there was a decent amount of damage from the side of Argentine import, there's no way he's going to live that or even get a kill on the backside.
Now the question is, if you're the Jumbos, when do you engage? There's that fling coming out from onto Constantine Valdor. Gonna be popping the Black Shield early, gonna get that Zenith Blade off. Solar Flare is going to land onto 2, but not enough to save his life. That's gonna be a kill from Kokoro, and that's the inhibitor tower going down for the Jumbos, and they could potentially get a Rift Herald proc on the inhibitor as well. A huge play coming out of NYU, and no response from the Jumbos in this early play.
Yeah, really good pick from the side of NYU, grabbing the Galio. Then after that, it's Tufts really can't engage in. It's essentially kind of just like run in, fling the Leona backwards, and force Tufts back while picking up a couple more kills.
Yeah, and super really good use of that Rift Herald. Looks like Kokoro might be caught out of position, but no, it's going to be the Kindred actually instead. More not even able to pop the Lamb's Respite, was burst down way too fast, and Kokoro says hashtag baited in all chat with a brilliant play, saving his life and getting another kill onto the Kindred.
And God, Mord always seems to find himself at the end of those Morgana queues, the Morgana bindings. Morgana's done a really good job of finding picks after someone from Tufts tries to dive in, and I mean, we all know the memes, you know, when you get hit by Morgana binding, you're just stuck there for like 3 seconds.
It looks like Tufts is going to try and contest this Baron Nashor here. 21 minutes. Called the Forge God recast, was actually missed there for Easy Life. Hero's Entrance is going to come in and lock down Kokoro. This could potentially be the end of the Orianna, and it is shut down for Argentine Import onto the backside. Here we see Mystery Champ and Masuta doing a lot of damage. They're going to pick up the first kill onto John Su, but there's the Blast Cone back into the rest of the Jumbo team. That Singe is tanky, but is he tanky enough? That's going to be a double kill for the Singe, and that's the re-engage, the triple kill for Mystery Champ. Morn is the only one left alive, going to pop the ultimate to try and save himself, but a 3v1 is not a good odds for you, my friend. That's the ace coming out for the for NYU, and Baron is still on the table, but I think the health bars are too low for them to contest.
Yeah, I think they're just going to end up going for the soul instead, and God, this Singe is doing so much work. That fight looked really good for Tufts, but I mean, NYU just had the Singe sitting in the back line, whittling everyone's health bar out, and I guess just with the Leandries and the Giant spell, he just didn't die, and 25 Magi stacks means he was able to melt the side of Tufts, and honestly, at this point, I don't really know how they're going to be able to deal with that Singed. Maybe if they have a little bit more appeal with the Ash can find a fight and find a way to, you know, do some damage to him, whittle him down, but it hasn't seemed to be happening yet, and with this soul, the mountain soul coming out, Singe is going to be really tanky.
A friend of mine loves to say that Singe's flip is the most broken basic ability in the game, and we see it in action here, landing constant pick after pick after pick, and with everyone else on the side of NYU having such high damage, really going to be able to capitalize on that ability there. 25 Magi stacks, as you said before, Audi. Baron is on the table, and it looks like with the soul already taken for NYU, they're just in a really, really dominant position.
Yeah, I think Tufts right now is just going to try to see if NYU makes a mistake, try to capitalize with the pick tools they have, but at this point, I'm starting to think that it might not even be enough.
There goes the Baron. It looks like deja vu. It's the last time Tufts tried to do something at the Baron pit. They got aced, and it doesn't look like they're going to try and repeat history. The Baron is going down, melting super fast, and nobody on the Jumbos is trying to contest. Baron Nash is secured in 23.5 minutes for NYU Indigo.
Yeah, and that's like a 7k gold lead at this point, plus the Mountain Soul, which I think is around 5 to 6k worth of stats as well. And so even with those Aura items coming in, I think there is... there's only the one completed so far. The gold lead is just going to be too much for the side of NYU.
The bases and the structures for Tufts are being eviscerated early on in this game one, and a really dominant showing so far from NYU, showing that they are not a team to be messed around with, as Tufts is fighting for their lives at this point.
Yeah. With the Baron, they can siege relatively easily. They have the long tools with the Morgana and the Orianna to kind of pressure Tufts off this tower, and it seems like they're just going to siege and try to whittle down the base.
Hopefully, NYU is hoping that they can get an inhibitor off of this Baron power play. Still have a lot of waves to work with, a lot of minions. To have the supers pushing in that bottom lane. Inhibitor tower in the mid lane has already been taken down. And with the inhibitor under fire, doesn't look like Tufts is really going to try and contest this one. That's going to be 2 inhibitors down with less than 25 minutes into this game.
Yeah, it seems like they're just going through the motions right now. Unless, again, they can Tufts can find a fight where they can get the pick tools down onto the back line without the Singe there, without the Morgana shield saving anyone. They can maybe win, but NYU just rotating to the top lane.
Easy Life looked like he was in trouble a little bit, but it looks like this could be a good fight for the side of Tufts. That's going to be a 1-for-1 so far. Jonsu and Belief Survivors are already dead, but there's that fling on the Constantine. He's burning with the poison. The Mystic Shot does not hit. Might have been able to finish him off there, but Mystery Trap is so tanky, and he's just running into the team. They're going to end up taking him down, but at the cost of the Leona and the Argentine import, and that's going to be Morn and only Easy Life left alive here. It's a 3v2, but definitely much stronger members on the side of the Indigo.
Yeah, I mean, nice try from the side of Tufts, but I don't know. When I just saw the Orianna ulti go off and Ashe was slain, so I think the goal difference is just too high. Valiant attempt though, especially in that last fight. They were able to take down the Singe, but sadly without the Ashe, they didn't have enough damage to finish it up.
3 inhibitors already dead. That is the textbook definition of what to do on a Baron power play. NYU taking the time, winning a fight, getting all 3 inhibitors, really pressuring Tufts into their own base, going to get full control over the entire map, and it's going to be really hard for the Jumbo to try and come back in this one.
Yeah, and I want to see if they try to utilize these supers to try to get into the base right now, or if they wait the 2 minutes for the Elder Dragon. Honestly, I don't even think they need to wait for the Elder Dragon. With double super waves coming in and how much goldie they have, it seems like they can just kind of like walk it in.
Yeah, and Tufts is such a high range poke and pick team. As you said before, they were able to pick off a lot of members of the Jumbos, winning them these early fights. And now with this 8,000 gold lead almost, and with all 3 inhibitors down, 1 pick could possibly spell doom for Tufts in this game 1.
Yeah, and Morgana found the Kindred again.
As I say that, that's going to be the Dark Binding landing onto Morn, and the rest of the team is here. We normally would think that that's a safe spot for the Kindred, but with all the inhibitors down, it looks like it's not really the case. Mystery Trap is so tanky. That's going to be a Shockwave only landing onto 1. It's only the Leona, and so far, nobody has fallen yet. And 3rd inhibitor is once again going to be taken down. Only 1 structure remains for NYU. This is going to be a tough 5v5 to decide the fate of this game. That's the Dark Binding already landing onto Argentine import, and so much damage being taken out. Belief Survivors are going to flash in with the Soul Shackles and use the Sidonians to stay alive, but that's going to be a kill. But meanwhile, as we speak, the Nexus is under attack, and it doesn't look like the Jumbos are going to be able to help the Nexus there, and it is going to die. That's going to be a game 1 victory, and a dominant one at that for NYU.
Yeah, that was a really good showing from the side of NYU. Really using their like safety plus like Morgana bindings and Orianna ultis to try to turn those fights around. And while they had a bit of a rough early game where they got picked off a little bit, they were able to turn those 3v3, 4v4, 5v5 skirmishes in the early mid game and solidify a decent lead.
A crushing blow for the Jumbos. Looked like they had a bit of things going for themselves. They had that early first blood, ended up dying in return, of making it only a 1-for-1. But at the end of the day, Tufts was in a position to win. They had 3 stacks on the Kindred really early on in the game, but it ended up just falling apart for them. And it's going to be really tough for them to come back after a very, very tough loss there early on.
Yeah, and then we're going to see the Galio again. Not working out too well for the side of the Jumbos. I don't think it had too much to do with the piloting. I think it was just the way that they have their damage composition. Just keeping it like in the bot lane means that like when they have those plays they're making with the jungle mid lane and the mid lane support grabbing those picks, they aren't able to get a lot of the gold where they actually want it to be. So I want to see Argentine import actually go back to some of like the Vladimir Zoe Echo picks that we have seen before, where he's had really dominant performances on.
A lot to look forward to. Tufts has a tough road ahead of them to try and pull off the reverse sweep to take a week 3 victory over NYU. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back with Champ Select for Game 2. Hello and welcome back to JumboCast coverage of the CSL College League of Legends tournament. We got Tufts versus NYU Lavender once again. I'm Andrew Howe, joined by Adipal Parikh. And after a dominant Game 1 victory out of NYU, we're going to have to see some changes here for Jumbos on the red side.
Yeah, and pretty standard ban so far. Elise Shen taken away from NYU, realizing that Easy Life and Easy Life and Morin are very dominant on those champions. Lilia Silas taken away from the side of Tufts, pretty standard. And the Tufts actually going to go back to the Galio, which I think is very interesting because I don't think the pick has been that bad, but I feel like they have needed a little bit more damage where the gold is going, and the gold often does go to the Argentine import.
Yeah, the bans are the same as the first rotation here. It's really interesting to see that actually. Just after all that happened in the last game, no adjustments. It looks like they just thought it looks like Tufts thinks that this is the way to go for the bans. We're gonna have a Lucian lock in here going towards Jansu potentially, but there's always the chance that Easy Life picks it up, and heck, even Galio could potentially go towards Constantine.
Yeah, it's a really good flex pick. I like it. It doesn't signal too much what exactly Tufts is going to play, and I think it's really strong, especially with the Galio already picked up for the mid lane. A little bit more damage spread out across the team.
Yeah, certainly going to be interesting that Orianna is once again picked up in the middle lane. We're going to see the NYU mid laner play that pick once again, played it to near perfection, had a lot of really incredible, impactful shockwaves. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's going to be Ezreal hovered and potentially locked in for Anson as well.
Yeah, I mean, Ezreal Orianna, really safe, good picks, consistent damage, can really take over fights late if the fights take a long time, if they get to a gold funnel into them. Pretty standard stuff. I'm interested to see what Tufts has to say to round out these picks, because it seems like they're going to go for something a little different with the Lucian picked already.
And that's actually a really interesting lock-in here. We have triple flex picks on the side of the Jumbos. We have Galio, Lucian, and Vladimir. All these champions can go mid, but they also have the potential to go to the top lane or the bottom lane for either of these three champions. Super interesting first rotation here.
Yeah, I really like it. It doesn't really tell NYU what is going on, and also has the ability to make the comp how they want to see it. Put the Vladimir in the top lane, put Vladimir in the bot lane. I'm gonna think that there's going to be something like the Lucian put in the top lane, maybe trying to shut down whatever the NYU top lane could come up with this time, as he kind of took over game 1.
Lucian, yeah, certainly a strange. This is the first time we've seen this champion, I think, in these games. Actually, Lucian does go not really a good matchup into the Orianna. So yeah, probably going to be seeing it in a different role. Looking at these bans, we do see the Graves and the Singed banned away from NYU. A bit of an adaptation from that last game.
I expect to see support picked up here for Tufts. Leaving the flexibility to round out however the comp however they want to with the last pick. Maybe counter something and make sure they have a good bot lane with the support pick right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see the support. See the 80 carry jungler locked in actually, as Orin actually is the one that gets locked in. So that means that this Galio is not going. It means that Orin in the top lane will probably mean that Vladimir will be going to the middle lane, Galio will be going support, and Lucian to the bottom lane as well with the Galio.
Honestly, I kind of like this because the Galio has been really good in the sense that it gets a lot of picks. It plays really well into the early game style from Tufts. But if you put maybe Argentine import on something that does a little more damage, because we're funneling gold so much into him with Constantine Valador and more and hovering around that lane, it means that they'll have a little more damage late game, and maybe he can take over some fights.
Vladimir is a winning matchup into Orianna, so it looks like Argentine import will have a decent shot at picking up a couple kills or a lot of pressure at least in that middle lane. We're going to see Lee Sin locked in for Masuta as well as Nar for the top lane.
Yeah, Nar's a nice pick. He has a decent lane phase, can probably lane into the Lucian relatively well. Obviously, will lane into the Orin relatively well with the ability to kite and the max health damage, and can, with Orianna, lead to some really nice team fights.
Hecarim is the final lock-in here for Morn, finishing off the Tufts draft. We see a bit of a dichotomy in the kind of playstyles that NYU wants to have in this game. We have Gnar and Lee Sin for some of the more mid to late game action, as well as kind of the Leona. But then you have that late game insurance with the Ori and Ezreal to round out this team comp that NYU has set up for themselves.
Yeah, and I think we're gonna go into the normal draft in a little bit.
Yeah, but either way, taking a look at these team comps, a really interesting way that Tufts kind of tried to manipulate and maneuver around this draft with the triple flex pick early, going for this and kind of figuring out where they wanted to send these lanes before eventually locking in their comp.
Yeah, I think this is really interesting. I honestly think Galio Lucian probably beats Leona Ezreal early. Galio just has the ability to be so tanky and applies so much AoE big crowd control that might be able to have some early pressure ball lane. And with the Vladimir in the mid lane, they have the ability to go late game with damage. And yeah, I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Hecarim into Lee Sin is definitely an interesting matchup here. Lee Sin is definitely going to have that early game pressure against the Hecarim, but once you get into those later stages of the game, I do really like the team composition coming out of Tufts. You have a lot of team fight potential. Once again, that Galio was really valuable in the fights, but now you have Argentine import on somebody a little bit more impactful in terms of damage on the Vladimir. You stick Constantine on the Galio, and you still have the same playmaking potential.
Yeah, and it seems that they're going through the motions of the draft right now, so we'll be into game in a little bit. But yeah, I'm very excited to see because I feel like this composition, takes kind of the good parts of game one, but makes it so it has a little more safety to it. So they can't really get the fights turned around in the early mid game and game taken away from them.
Going to be a super important game for the Jumbos. Sitting at 0-1 and sitting at a 1-1 record, actually. It's hard. It's always hard to remember, but I think only one champion. I think only one team in the group gets out into the playoffs at the end of the regular season. So every single win is valuable, and either of these teams falling to 1 and 2 is definitely not a position that they want to be in for the near future.
Yeah, like you said, they're both sitting at 1-1, tied for around 5th place, and this match will be really important. And so hopefully the pressure does not get to the Jumbos, and we get to see a nice game 2 and maybe game 3. But yeah, for now, I'm just looking at these comps, and I'm thinking that it's going to be a very interesting game.
We got game 2 of NYU Indigo against Tufts University Blue. It looks like we're going to be heading into game really shortly. Game 2 is about to go underway. But one more time, Adi, I know just looking at these team comps back and forth, I do want to focus a little bit on this bottom lane. We have Ezreal Leona, a bit of a different it's in playstyles, as we said before. How do you think this will match up against the Galio Lucian, a lane that we don't really typically see in games here?
I think the Galio Lucian has a little bit of an advantage. While Leona can dive onto the Galio, the fact that Galio has the taunt and has the ability to disrupt any engage from the Ezreal Leona, as well as having the ability to dive in really easily, they will have a little more pressure in this ball lane, and Ezreal and Leona are really going to only look for windows after the Galio tries to engage and maybe misses some abilities.
Going to be a really exciting game here between NYU and Tufts. We got game 2 coming up in just a couple of minutes. We're going to take a short break, but we'll be right back on Summoner's Rift in just a few. Don't go anywhere. All right. What's up, Trevor?
Galio support.
Welcome back, everyone. We got game 2 between Tufts and NYU. We got NYU on the blue side, Tufts on the red side. A bit of an early level 1 engage here to start this one off. Bit of a more of a stack start to this game early on from NYU. And anyway, my name is Andrew, joined here again by Adipal Parikh. And in this game 2, Tufts is going to look to try and come back after a pretty quick and easy game 1 victory for NYU.
Yeah, and I kind of want to talk about this Galio support a little bit more. Galio support is something that we haven't seen a ton of recently. It used to be really popular, but then Riot took away the ability to flash while already started your W channel, so you can't like flash and insta-taunt the enemy team. And since then, Galio has been moved more into the mid lane role. However, I still think there's a lot of crowd control inside of Galio, and the Galio support might be really good.
Gonna be red side starts actually for both of these champions early on to start this one off. Hecarim probably gonna be going for more of a full clear, but we'll see where Masuta goes. Actually gonna be going level 2 with that red buff into the bottom lane. Could be have the potential for a spicy engage here. It looks like he's not gonna end up doing it though, but he was spotted out by Constantine. And with Masuta going towards that blue buff, we might see a split of the map here.
Yeah, pretty easy invade. Hecarim's on the other side of the map. I think the Lee Sin kind of expected that, as Hecarim has a lot of AoE damage early and you can clear the red side camps really easily. So we might see Hecarim just decide to trade back and go for the enemy blue buff.
Might be so, but after the blue buff is taken, it looks like Masuta is running straight towards his own. Don't know if Morn is going to be able to finish that off in time. Really an interesting play here. We're going to see a bit of an engage here in the middle lane here. Argentine Import getting below 50% HP, but Masuta with both those buffs completed is just going to run buff to buff to buff, and it looks like he's going to be able to pick up all 3 of them for himself.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It makes sense. We saw the Lee Sin in the mid lane. Argentine Import is able to spot him out, and so does not make sense for the Hecarim to try to take away that blue buff. Just go for those Raptors, keep bearing, and try to take what you can.
And not really the best start here coming out from Morin. It's just really hard to be playing this game with after you get one of your buffs stolen, and it's going to potentially be pretty punishing here, as Lee Sin with this early lead is definitely going to be able to do a lot of work.
Yeah. I feel like Lee Sin typically has a little bit of advantage earlier, but probably around like level 6, Hecarim can contest pretty easily.
Gonna be top lane Scuttle, gonna be picked up already from Masuta. Goes straight buff to buff to buff to Scuttle, and while Morin will pick that up for himself in the bottom side.
Yeah. And Lee Sin's just going back and forth, not really full clearing his camps.
Oh, but Masuta looks like he's going for a bit of engage. Going to use the E to the W to jump onto Kokoro and try and get a bunch of damage onto Argentine Import. Lee Sin is being super proactive here. Not a kill so far successfully, but a lot of pressure going to be taken out and a lot of counter jungling here. Morn looks like he might be a little bit out of position though, but he gets back into his jungle safely.
Yeah, however, there's not a ton of farm to Lee Sin's name, so while Hecarim doesn't get the buffs for the Scholar Crab, he is certainly racking up some gold and taking whatever he can relatively well.
Definitely true to that. Early on, looking at that top side though, Mystery Tramp has picked up a cull early on into the Ornn, knowing that that lane is not going to be much of a kill threat against the Gnar, knowing he can go a little bit more aggressive with his build, a little bit more greedy, getting some more income early on.
Yeah, and all the theme of picks that aren't picked too much anymore, or weren't picked too much for a while. The Gnar wasn't picked for a while either. I don't know particularly what it was that put him out, but he just wasn't strong enough.
Oh, Zenith played forward, but Belize Survivors is eating the tower shots. An overextension there from the NYU bot laner. Masuta is going to go and pick up a kill on the Constantine under the tower in return, but there's the exhaust actually popped. Pressy attack has already been issued from Jansu, but he's going to be chunked out very low. We're going to be a 1-for-1 overall as both the supports end up falling. But hold on, Argentine Import actually ends up teleporting into the bottom side. Masuta hasn't been found, but yes, he is. That's going to be that Sonic Wave pickup. But the empowered Q out of Argentine Import is going to finish him off. But there's that Arcane Shift and Flash Forward from Anson. And overall, Argentine Import was looking for an aggressive play, but ends up getting punished for it. It's going to be a 3-for-2 overall.
Yeah, really smart play from the Lee Sin, making sure he goes in when the damage isn't really there. Vladimir doesn't do a ton of damage early, and Lucian was really low, and the exhaust was already blown. So hiding out and jumping in, landing the Q, and securing those 3 kills.
Gnar already hitting level 6 here, and yeah, as you were saying, he's gonna actually use the leap forward. Gnar into the wall. This could potentially be a kill. The last Q is going to land. The boulder will finish him off, but there comes Morin to finish to turn that 1 for 0 into a 1 for 1, taking down the enemy top laner. But a nice solo kill coming out from Mystery Tramp there. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the flash was blown for him. I think he'll take that any day of the week. He got the kill for himself, Orin did not. He has a massive farm lead. Orin is just hitting level 6. The Gnar is doing a lot of work in this top lane and is in a really good position.
And another big thing is that teleport was blown out of easy life. Diving him with that wave in that position was really disadvantageous for the Orin there. Nice trade of the shockwave there onto Kokoro. Looks like he's gonna try and go for the kill on the Argentine import, but there comes Morin. Has the ghost pop, is gonna use the E. Onslaught of Shadows forward, but there comes the re-engage. You got 3 members of NYU TPing here from Mystery Tramp, but it was cancelled by the Brittle proc from Easy Life, and I think that might have saved Argentine import's life. That's gonna be the dragon picked up for NYU, but a nice a really interesting kind of array of events that just occurred there.
Yeah, that was a good job from Moore. I don't know if this was on purpose or not, but dashing to the Leona instead to try to get himself out. That was a nice mechanical play. Or was able to stop the TP, but it might be at the cost of his life.
Mystery Tramp is trying to punish Easy Life for canceling his teleport earlier on there. Doesn't have the Gnar available, but has a lot of damage. Still has the wall up. Gonna leap forward, and there's the ultimate actually. The boulder is gonna pop, and one more auto will do it. That's another solo kill. Ult coming just off of cooldown there. And another solo kill for Mystery Tramp up in the top side. Meanwhile, down mid, Kokoro once again nearly taking down Argentine import, and all of the lanes are looking so good for NYU early on.
Yeah, that's just the Gnar into the Orin matchup. Gnar just has a lot of damage, both in mini and mega form, and Orin can't really do much about it.
And this is not looking good for the Jumbos. You're already at this 1-0 deficit in the series, and with that morale crusher, with that 25-minute loss in that game 1, not the start you're looking for to try and pull off the reverse sweep.
Yeah, I agree. It is kind of hard on the morals there, but I think if Tufts just keeps trying to play to what their comp does, get that Vladimir scaling, get some picks to the Galio and the Hecarim, I think they can definitely have a shot of taking this game.
Yeah, that is true. We definitely do have that Orin win condition here a little bit with those items. Once you get that Trinity Fusion onto Morin, you start getting items like the Essence Reaver or IE upgrade on Jansu. Definitely going to be really valuable with these item upgrades here. Mystery Tramp is going for another aggressive play onto Easy Life, but he's got help with him as well. Kokoro is going to finish him off with the Dissonance, and that is 3 kills in a row onto Easy Life's Orin.
Yeah, with the Phage, it's almost impossible to run away from the Gnar, and Orianna coming up, just making sure they get that kill. Getting the kill onto Orianna as well, spreading that gold around. I really like that play from the side of NYU, making sure that this top lane can actually turn into a win for NYU.
Rift Herald is going to be picked up for the Indigo as well. You're going to have Masuta on to that objective there. Argentine import, looks like he might have been in a bit of trouble there, but Belief Survivors decides not to go in with the Zenith Blade. He's only level 5, so no Solar Flare is unlocked for him as well.
Yeah, Manman from the bot lanes, they're going to start stacking that up. It looks like there's something about having the mid lane, though.
Aggressive play here. Onslaught of Shadows back into the team, and Kokoro is down. Belief Survivors is the next target, but he has a lot of tankiness, a lot of resistances there with the W. Argentine Import's going to get one more Q off. Zenith Blade barely misses there onto the Leona, but a nice pick by members of Tufts, going to send 4 down into the middle lane to try and pick up some sort of advantage for themselves. But this could be another re-engage. Masuta is back, going to force the flash out with the ward hop. Did not end up using the kick there back into the enemy team. Nice job, nice use of the flash there from Argentine Import to get himself out.
Yeah, and here's Gnar just hitting the Orin over and over again, and the Phage plus the W movement speed means not much you can do. However, Hecarim's in the top lane now.
There, lots of health is gone onto Easy Life. That's going to be the Gnar backwards to prevent any sort of retaliation from Morn. Flash forward from Jansu. The full duration of the culling was issued onto Anson. Here's entrance coming in from Constantine to try and re-engage him a little bit, but Ezreal ends up getting out with his life, only blowing the heal. And that's going to be the Rift Herald proc in the top lane as well after Mr. Tramp ends up taking down Easy Life.
Right, I think top lane is over. I think what Tufts needs to do now is start sending the Hecarim to the bot lane. Like we saw, Lucian has a ton of damage right now with that completed man immune. If the Hecarim is there to pressure people under tower, you know, to try to punish Ezreal for taking a bad trade.
Oh, that nice pull to save his life, but it's not enough. The Flash E coming out from Masuta to finish him off. Meanwhile, on the top side, that's going to be the Rift Herald going on to the inner turret in the top side. Police Survivors is going in with the Zenith Blade. Going to be a 1-for-1 as Morn ends up taking one in return. Easy Life uses the College of Forge God backwards to try and land it onto Masuta. But there's the Dragon's Rage. Going to kick him back into the team. Gnar is mega and he's doing lots of damage. The turret is currently aggroing there. And oh! Easy Life picks him up. A bit of an overextension from NYU as Mr. Tramp ends up giving over that 600 gold shutdown from the Ornn. That is exactly what he needs right now.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty good for Tufts. It gives them a little bit more room to breathe. They did lose some towers, but that wasn't the cost of the Rift Herald that they had expended earlier time for. So maybe this could be a bit of a turning point for Tufts.
Could be, but as you say that, Adi, it's a 3,000 gold lead for NYU. Second dragon of the game is currently available, and it looks like NYU have all they need to try and contest and take this second dragon. They're going to send all members here, but it's going to actually be the Jumbos potentially starting this one up. Lots of poke again, as we said, with this Orianna Ezreal early on in this game. And Tufts is going to be the one to start this dragon off, but it looks like NYU is not going to let them get away with this one. It's going to be a nice... We have two fronts here in the fight. Argentine Import is already chunked down to half HP. Morn is going to use Devastating Charge onto the control ward, I believe. But Easy Life's going to get a nice knock up onto Kokoro. This could be huge. It's going to flash away from the onslaught of shadows. But there comes Mr. Tramp building up that rage. Can he get to the mega form? It's going to be a shockwave landing onto two. Jansu is nearly about to fall here. There's that Gnar. Only going to land onto Constantine, but a two-man wall up along with a solar flare. That's going to be 3 down already for NYU. And that is going to be a wipe, and they're looking for more. That's going to be the Sonic Wave landing onto Morn. Arcane Shift into the Mystic Shot is not going to be able to take down the jungler, but that is 3 dead for Tufts and second dragon of the game for NYU Indigo.
Yeah, and that's just Gnar was so strong there, able to use the cleaver and the tab eyes to be really tanky, create a lot of space, get up that bar so that he can get that massive ultimate. And Tufts has tried to get a couple of picks onto like the mid lane or whatever, but it wasn't able to turn it into anything, and eventually the fight just turned for NYU.
Getting all plates there on the middle lane outer turret for NYU. Anson is still trying to finish that turret off, but not going to be able to do it with those increased resistances as the rest of Tufts respawns and tries to go back to defend their base. But yeah, Adi, as you said, another team fight win for NYU, and the game is looking more and more in their favor.
Yeah, and I think, honestly, I don't really like the call to take that fight. It was, at best, a 5v5. It was a 5v4 in the beginning. The items really haven't come in for the side of Tufts. There's no Triforce from the side of Hecarim, no Sunfire Cape from the side of Ornn, not any item completed for Vladimir, versus like the Cleaver, Warrior, Page inside of the top jungler from NYU, on top of the Manamune from the Ezreal. It seems like they didn't have the tools to make that fight happen.
Yeah, looking at Argentine Import's items, certainly not super strong here right now. Has the Phoenix Codex and probably going to be building towards that Spellbinder with the Aether Wisp already picked up. But yeah, definitely at a bit of a disadvantage, especially compared to Kokoro, who already has that Lost Chapter and almost has the Ludens picked up.
Yeah. I think right now they just have to take the game slow. I think they should have given up that dragon, maybe even given up the third one, and try to see those ornaments plus a little more gold through farm can make them come back.
Game has kind of taken a bit of a stop, but as I say that, that's going to be an engage coming in from Belief Survivors. Dennis played in, but she went a little bit too far. Nice job to use the dash to go back further into the turret. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, we got another fight going on. The E flash from Argentine Import is going to finish him off with the pool, and Mystery Tramp is here on the top side, has the rage being built up, but can he end up getting a kill? It looks like a collapse on the side of NYU. Argentine Import looks like he's going to be the target, while Anson goes after Morn in the bottom lane. How are you going to use the smite to get some health for himself? And Morn is getting chunked out as we speak, almost at below through 400 HP. True Shot Barrage not available for Anson just yet. Police Survivors looking for potentially a re-engage, but not gonna take it. So overall, nice play coming out of the Jumbos. They get a kill onto the mid laner, and they get out pretty relatively safely.
Yeah, that was a really good execution from the side of Tufts. I mean, not only did they get that kill, they also got the TP out of Gnar, and they also had the entire team chasing them for a good, 30 seconds coming down from the mid lane, meaning that mid lane tower hasn't actually been cracked yet. Really good play, and I think it's may not be enough, but it shows some sign of life inside of Tufts right now.
And if you're the Jumbos, you need all you can get at this point. It really is a really nice play. They saw the opportunity to go for the mid laner, and Morn uses all of his abilities and ends up taking him there. Mystery Tramp is going to try and dive Argentine Import here. Has Gnar available, but not going to be able to find that wall necessary to finish him off. Meanwhile, in the middle lane, that's going to be the tower coming down. Johnson's going to use the calling to try and burst down some of these minions to try and prevent another push.
Yeah, and I think if there was ever a time for Tufts to try to fight, it would have been right there for that tower. Gnar was chunked for that TP in the bottom lane. Orin was in the top lane, which is kind of unfortunate, so maybe that's why they decided not to do anything. But if they were ever going to try to fight a fight they could win, it seemed like it was when their 2-item top laner was nowhere near it.
And Gnar is just so strong right now. Look at the item differential between the top laners. We got a Cleaver Mallet from the side on Mystery Tramp, while on Easy Life, you don't even have a full item. That Sunfire isn't even finished yet. Going towards another item here for Mr. Tramp already. Probably going to be the Blade of the Ruin King, or maybe a Death's Dance. But either way, this is definitely a strong Gnar that is going to be feared in the side lane.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard to deal with him. With those two big items completed, he was almost able to dive the full health Vladimir there under the tower. Seems like this be fighting in the mid lane.
Flash Gnar into the Jansu, and the Sonic Wave is going to finish him off. Two ultimates used, to pick up the Tufts 80 carry, and that was brutal for Jansu. Didn't even have a chance to flash, use the exhaust, or anything. Probably just blinked and he was already gone with Dragon on the table. That's going to be potential for Soul Point coming up in 20 seconds for NYU.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's really hard to respect the engage from the Gnar just because he has the dash plus the flash plus the R, which has so much range, when you use them all together. And so they were able to get a really nice surprise engage onto Jansu and a really clean pickup.
Nice usage of the Rift Herald Door there. And in the bottom side, going to get a lot of pressure towards this bottom lane. Tufts is going to be forced to pick this up, but that's probably going to be the Dragon after all of this said and done. That's going to be 4 members of NYU there at the Dragon Pit. Soul Point already picked up. That's going to be the Cloud Soul, some reduced cooldowns on the ultimate. Definitely going to be valuable. And NYU is looking for an aggressive play afterwards. Safeguard popped from Masuta, not going to be able to find the pick onto Argentina Port.
Okay, let's look at the timers. 4 minutes till the next, or roughly 5 minutes till the next Dragon. Those 5 minutes are where Tufts is going to have to find the way to win a fight. If not, they're going to lose Soul again, and I don't see a lot of hope for them.
Yeah, definitely with Soul Point, so much pressure for Tufts to try and find some sort of advantage before that next Cloud Dragon spawns. We only see level 12 out of Easy Life, so no ornaments is unlocked just yet. But that's going to be another tower taken from NYU. Things are looking especially grim for the Jumbos at this moment in the game, as they are now down 7,000 gold.
Yeah, I think I say maybe in 5 minutes they can get 1 or 2 ornaments done, but it looks like NYU doesn't want to let the Orin leave.
No hard CC available on that Gnar when he's in the mini form. Easy Life is going to be able to get out with his life, and that's a small victory, I guess you could say, for Easy Life and the Jumbos there. Not being able to give another kill over to these already super strong members of NYU. Things are going, yeah, decently, well, not decently well, but things are going as they are. Going to see Jansu here, not even having the Essence Reaver picked up just yet, but hopefully going to try and get close to it, going towards the turret there to try and attack it, but Belief Survivors is there to make sure that that structure is not going down.
Yeah, and I mean, like, yeah, it was just the team going up and small victory for the side of Tufts, but it did allow them to get some room to get like half a tower in the mid lane, get some vision cleared out in the bot river. So they're at least doing something, and they're trying to find whatever they can.
In a really tough situation right now, Tufts is going to need to try and hope for a miracle here to try to pull off this reverse sweep against NYU Indigo. We already see them being pushed into their inhibitor tower, and the entire bottom side jungle is cleared away of vision for NYU. Mystery Tramp is going onto a really nice trade onto Easy Life. Has the recurve bow, has the attack speed as well. This is going to be the Gnar into the wall as well as the wall. Not enough damage there on the Easy Life so far. This could potentially be a nice re-engage. There's the call of the Forge God onto Mystery Tramp. Jonsu is going to pop the culling, but a lot of HP still left onto the cat. That's going to be one more shot down, and eventually Jonsu will pick that kill up. Argentine Import looks like he might be in a bit of danger here in the middle lane. That's going to be the True Shot Barrage flashed away from by the Vladimir, but a nice bit of damage there with the Hemoplague and the Empowered Q. Morn is looking to re-engage here, going to use the Onslaught of Shadows in, but he has no damage and no health left. Shockwave is going to finish him off. Kokoro will take him down. Belief Survivors end up going to be able to fall, but Masuta in the backline is burning down the rest of the members. That's going to be Constantine falling as well. A triple kill coming out from Kokoro, and that's going to be a solid team fight win for the Jumbos. Argentine Import and Easy Life are the only ones left alive, but without any ultimates, without any summoners, not much they can do here, as the inhibitor will fall.
Yeah, and it was a nice attempt. They got the really nice pick on the Gnar top lane, and it seems like they were navigating that fight well enough, but just the goal lead meant that Lee Sin was able to do a ton of damage back there, and while it was a valiant attempt, it ultimately was a win for the side of NYU.
And Tufts is just so far behind now, sitting at 7,000 gold, as I said before. One bright side, though, we do see that level 13 available on Easy Life, going to have that Forge Fire Cave for himself, but not even having enough gold to complete that Infernal Mask is not what you want to see out of the Orin at this stage in the game. We're going to see Dragon spawning in less than a minute, and Tufts is going to have to fight for it.
Yeah, and it's 22 minutes, and Lucian hasn't completed that mana immune yet. He still has about 140 stacks to go, so we'll see what they can do, given, like I said, the Dragon's up in just under a minute.
Don't think he's going to be able to stack that up in that short of a time frame. We're going to see lots of members of NYU working around this bottom side. We're going to see vision pop all over the Tufts jungle in the top side. It doesn't look like anybody is going to be able to get into that dragon pit, and honestly, I don't know if there's much that the Jumbos can do to try and contest this soul.
Yeah, me neither, especially with they haven't really hit enough power spikes. Like, yeah, there is a Spellbinder on the side of Vladimir, there is a Triforce, but like compared to the items that they're facing, like, oh, that is double Rod. However, it seems like they're trying to dive Johnson in the bot lane.
Flash already used from Jansu, does not going to be able to have that available. Instance, he's going to pick that up with a True Shot Barrage. A really nice play there. Ended up using the dash to dodge the kick ended up sending him backwards, but just too many members of NYU there to contest, and it looks like Tufts is not even going to go for the soul. That's going to be Cloud Soul picked up once again, another 4-0 dragon count. Tufts has not gotten a single drag in this series, and that's going to be soul picked up for NYU Indigo.
Yeah, and I think with the Cloud Soul, it's going to be very hard, obviously, for Tufts to come back, especially with that Gnar, as Gnar starts coming into the top lane.
Looks like they instead try to go for this play onto the inner tower, but Gnar is doing lots of work clearing those minions out. Morn is probably not going to get out with his life. That's going to be a Shockwave as well to finish him off, and Easy Life is the next target. Nice kick backwards, and the Gnar back into the wall. That's going to be a double kill from Kokoro, now 6-2 and 4, and with that jungler down for the Jumbos, the NYU's eyes are set on the Baron.
Yeah, and that seemed like a little bit of a desperation play. Like, we saw the Gnar running up and trying to hit. We saw that the members of NYU had a reset, and so it seems like they were just trying to get something back before they ended up dying. And now they're going to lose the Baron, and looks like a flash onto Constantine Baldor.
Constantine is definitely dead. 4 members of NYU into the mix there. Jansu is trying to get away, but with the calling already used, not even going to be able to use the exhaust. Mystery Tramp will pick up another kill for himself, and Tufts is not getting anything. That's going to be the big purple buff going over to NYU. Indigo living up to their colors name with that buff on them.
Yeah, and with the 10k gold lead, Cloud Soul plus Baron, no inhib in the mid lane. I think NYU is going to try to close this one out as Nar TPs into the bot lane.
Straight into the bot lane and straight onto Argentine Import. Has the empowered Q available. That's going to be a nice chunk of health as well as the Hemo Plague there to keep Argentine Import alive. But either way, does not look like Tufts is in the position to win this. They're now 10,000 gold behind. They're going to need some sort of miracle to come back from this game with Baron buff already available for NYU.
Yeah, there was 2 items on the side of Vladimir, but like I don't even think that's enough.
We'll see if it is. Looks like NYU is going for a more of a slower approach here. Instead of going straight for the base, going to be instead going for these objectives. We saw this in the last game as well. There's going to be a lot of zoning potential here coming out of NYU. You have the ball from Oriana, you have the sonic waves coming out from Mansuta as well, and looks like Tufts is not going to be able to contest this inhib either. And that's going to be 2 inhibitors already down. It looks like Mr. Champ is trying to go in. Nar is actually going to whiff. The Argentine Import has a nice job using the pool. Culling is issued, but that's going to be almost no damage there. Nice flash kick coming out, and that's going to be a dead Lucian. This is the final fight here for Tufts. Born is looking for an engage, but he ends up not being able to be taken down. A nice hero's entrance actually from Constantine. This could be a fight that Easy Life and the rest of Tufts wants to try and go for. Mr. Champ is trying to go onto Argentine Import. One more auto could potentially do it, but he ends up getting back to the fountain just in time. It's going to be a really awkward scenario as both 80 carries are down, but NYU still have the push into the base. It's going to be Easy Life getting stunned up. Mega Nara once again available for Mystery Tramp, and this is the last ditch effort coming out of the Jumbos. We're going to see a 2-man taunt there from Constantine Valdor, but will it be enough? So much damage, so much health coming out from both of these members. Masuta is going to pick up a kill on the Easy Life, and looks like Tufts ends up holding their ground here. They're going to get the inhibitor potentially on the top side, but the inhibitor responds in the middle lane, and Tufts ends up holding from this Baron power play.
Yeah, but they're holding with 1 lone inhib tower on the bot lane. It doesn't seem like they're going to be able to hold for much longer, especially with so many low health bars inside of NYU as they tried to finish up those towers, but they really weren't able to clean it up.
Yeah, really, it's a really hard situation to be in if you're the Jumbos. But honestly, they took it with stride and ended up taking a bit of a team fight win there for themselves. It was a 2-for-2, but really ended up pressuring them out with all the HP and things like that. And with this Elder Dragon spawning in 2 minutes, it's going to give Tufts a little bit more time to try and farm these super minions, get some XP, get some items before trying to go in for the next fight.
But I don't know if they have that time. It seems like NYU is just trying to go through mid lane and finish this game.
Calling already used. Jansu is only level 12, 4 levels behind Mystery Tramp. Going to be really hard for him to be doing any sort of damage against some of these tanky members on NYU. That's going to be the inhibitor under fire and likely going down. No tower there to defend that one. And with an open nexus, this could potentially, again, be a game-winning push for NYU. Morn is going to go in with the Onslaught of Shadows, but he's already at half HP. Make it 0. He's already down. Masuta will pick that up in the bottom side of the map, though. We have a nice insane play, actually. Johnson ends up falling, but Argentine Import ends up one-shotting Anson. The Nexus is under fire. That's going to be a kill going on to Masuta, and Argentine Import will pick up 1, but Mystery Tramp is hitting the Nexus over and over and over again, and no response from them in less than 29 minutes. Tufts ends up falling to NYU Indigo in a 2-0 sweep.
Back half of that game, it was pretty doomed. Tufts had some signs of life, but the game was really just completely taken over by NYU. They really utilized that top lane super well, getting the mid lane, jungle, top lane super ahead, and they just took over that game.
A disappointing finish for sure coming there from Tufts, but you got to give it to NYU. They put up a really strong fight. They knew what their strategy was coming into these games. Kokoro and Anson did such great jobs on these late game champions like this Oriana, like the Ezreal, and it ended up just being way too much for Tufts to handle as they end up taking the victory.
Yeah, and I think looking forward, Tufts is really going to try to see what they can do about the compositions, how they want to play it, especially into teams like NYU who are able to like navigate those fights super well and really turn an inch into a mile.
Yeah, not the greatest showing from Tufts, but you do see some promising signs from them. A nice usage of the draft there, and you end up Argentine import ended up having a very good game for himself on the Vladimir. Ended up one-shotting Ezreal towards the end of that game, and it looks like if a little more, a couple of things went flipped in the opposite ways here for Tufts. Things could have gone a little bit differently. We're gonna next week. Tufts is actually playing as well. They're going to be playing another game against LU. It's going to be interesting to see if they can try and come back from a 2-game loss streak.
Yeah, and one more thing I'd like to say is just about maybe picking not weak side on Easy Life. I feel like in the past, Easy Life has done a really good job of like playing weak side and holding on. But when you play against a team that like tries to really play around that top lane, you need to contest it a tiny bit or find some way of punishing all that attention sent to the top lane. So, other than that, I'm excited to see how they're going to do in the next week.
Speaking of which, we do have the Northeast 1 standings currently on screen for you right now. And with that, of course, some of these, a lot of these standings are as of last week, so things are a little bit different. But Tufts is at 1-1 here in that 7th spot, but they're going to be going down to 1-2, while NYU Lavender is going up to 2-1, as you see Marist and Boston University currently undefeated.
Yeah, so Tufts definitely has a little bit of work to do to try to pull themselves up this league, but I'm excited to see what they can do and see how they're into fight through this league.
They do have a matchup with Lehigh next week. As I said before, Lehigh in their week 1 and 2 matches ended up getting 2-0'd in both of them. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Tufts matches up against a team like that, who has certainly been struggling so far. Could be a good way for them to try and turn things around.
Yeah, definitely want to see maybe use some experimentation without being too disrespectful and still playing a good game and trying to see how they can bring their composition back together.
And as we said before, on November 25th, the number of playoff teams will be decided. So we don't know for sure yet, but Tufts definitely has a bit of an uphill battle with a lot of strong teams still to face here. They have not played Marist, they have not played BU, and so they definitely need to start getting these victories to try and get their way up into the playoffs. But that looks like it is going to be it for us here on the JumboCast broadcast of the CSL. Next week, we will be here again, as I said before. Week 4 will be Saturday, November 14th at 3 p.m. We'll be playing Lehigh University, the Phoenixes. So make sure not to miss that. We will be sending out notifications, of course, all over our social media platforms to be making sure that you guys will be able to see that. Adi, anything you want to say before we wrap the show up?
No, just thank you guys for watching. It's really fun commentating, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much, everyone. Once again, I'm Andrew Howe. This is Adi Alperik, and we're going to, on behalf of JumboCast, Tufts University, and everyone else, we're going to say good night to you guys, and we'll see you all next week.